We're underway as Aaron Brown takes it from his 10-yard line. Across the 30, Derek Williams, the third receiver. Culpepper has time and dumps it off short to Heller. It's Smith and Smith in the backfield. Terrell Smith at fullback for Kevin Smith. And Kevin Smith has it. A good chunk of yardage to midfield. So an impressive start over the first two plays for this Lions team, trying to win its third game of the year.
Well, and if they're going to run the ball, especially up inside, they're going to have to get this guy blocked right there, Kelly Gregg. And you watch Dominic Raiola, he's going to get stalemated here at the line of scrimmage. There's nowhere up the middle for Kevin Smith to go, but that's what Kevin Smith does now. He is a guy that can bounce it to the perimeter. And you're right, he had a very, very good game against Cincinnati Bengals last week, almost 5 yards a pop.
He got 8 there, averaging 3.5 a carry. Culpepper on 2nd and 2, throws it out of the hands of Heller. It'll bring up a 3rd and short. How slick is the football for a tight end on a short pass like that when it's coming out?
Well, the thing is they're bringing a dry ball in every play, so that's one thing. And now obviously it's raining hard, and there's going to be some moisture on the football. Those aren't being used right now. You got ball boys on the sides that have got the balls under the towel. They're keeping them dry, and they're getting a new one on the field every play.
And there has been talk about the smaller hands of Dante Culpepper over the years that might have an effect as the rain wears on. Now 3rd down and a long 2. A handoff to Smith, and he's not going to get the first down. Elodi Nana.
Well, this is where Baltimore,
stop.
Chris, is still real good. They're the best in the league in run defense at 3.5 yards a pop. And they'll send a lot of pressure. And that time it was a run blitz, and it was Ladarius Webb coming off the slot. He plays the nickel corner, which means he goes to the slot in their sub package. And the D-line did a good job of stacking it up at the line of scrimmage. He peeled on a blitz and was able to get a tackle in the backfield.
So from midfield, Nick Harris and Chris Carr for the return, and lets it fall and bounce and roll into the end zone. Here in Baltimore, Joe Flacco, second-year player out of Delaware at 6'6". Had a fast start when they were throwing the ball better, but the last 5 games struggling.
He has struggled, and look, they've gotten a lot of pressure on him. I mentioned the 8 sacks in the last 2 games. I'd like to see Joe Flacco make some plays with his legs. It's been a big part of his game, Chris, that's been missing this year.
On 1st down, jumping for the Detroit Lions, Cliff Averill, who is starting for Dwayne White. See if he was drawn off.
Defense, number 92, 5-yard penalty, every man, 1st down.
So a 1st and 5 for Flacco. Looks to throw it. And does. Falling inside the 35-yard line is the veteran Derek Mason, who grew up a Detroit Lion fan. He's a 6-mile guy. So a 1st and 5 for Flacco. Looks to throw it. And does. Falling inside the 35-yard line is the veteran Derek Mason, who grew up a Detroit Lion fan. He's a 6-mile guy. 9-yard pickup. A 1st down for the Ravens against this Lion defense that ranks low in the league. Sammy Hill, the rookie up front, has played well. Larry Foote, the leading tackler in the middle. And the guy to watch, Louis Delmas from the safety spot. Quick handoff to Rice. Ray Rice. William James saved a touchdown.
Couple of things here. Very good block by Orr. He's going to down block. Grubs, the left guard, pulls around him, and then watch the vision of Ray Rice. I mean, that is vision and an outstanding cut. LeRon McClain goes to the outside. Ray Rice sees a little crease up on the inside, sticks his left foot in the turf, and bursts up the field. That's what I'm talking about. You got to tackle Ray Rice in space. Big chunk there.
A 52-yard gain, and that's the Ravens' longest run of the season.
Well, and that's part of their game that's been missing. I think when you look at Ray Rice earlier in the year, and he was running the ball better, but since they have struggled and had struggled on the offensive line and have lacked real playmakers in the receiver core, teams have keyed on Ray Rice. And over the last 4 or 5 games, he hasn't been the same player. That was a great, just terrific execution up front with the blocking, and then again, his vision to see that crease inside was terrific.
So on second down, Chris Chester in as a tackle eligible. Rice has it again. He bounces out to the left. And a nice ankle tackle by Delmas, the rookie who we mentioned, nicknamed the Missile from Western Michigan.
Well, and that's an area now, and I know the Lions are disappointed in giving up that big pop to Ray Rice. And that's an area where they've been better over
especially
the
last
few
week
games.
against Cincinnati in a good running
When
game.
you look at them defensively, I believe over the last 3 games, it's been 3 yards a pop against their defense. And what they did to Cedric Benson and that big offensive line last week, they wanted to build on it. They've already gotten gashed by a big run.
On third down, Demetrius Williams in as 3 wide receivers set up for Flacco, who goes to Rice, who fights. The ball comes out at the goal line. It's still loose into the end zone and through the end zone. And the Lions will take over. The Ravens had a shot at it once it squirted out of there.
Yeah, it squirted out, and then it looked like Phillip Buchanan kicked it on accident.
Through the end zone.
And it went into the end zone.
Touchback.
Well, no doubt, Chris, this is a turnover. You watch Ray Rice, his knees are not down. Larry Foote comes in and just pops it out with his right hand. Free ball. Buchanan ended up kicking it in the recovery. It went out of the back of the end zone. Touchback.
Only the second fumble and fumble loss for Ray Rice this year, but a red zone turnover kills the Ravens. It's 1st and 10 Lions from the 20. Culpepper, quick pass, and it's Calvin Johnson across the 26-yard line. Ray Lewis brings him down. On second down, Culpepper with time but can't find anybody. Dumps it, well, tries to dump it through the hands of Terrell Smith.
He was coming back to block.
He wanted to block somebody, including the football.
Well, they don't want Dante Culpepper taking sacks. That's when Dante is not on his game. It's when he's holding the ball too long, he's not getting it out on time, he's taking quarterback sacks. He's had a couple of starts this year for the Lions, but both of them were without Calvin Johnson, the #1 wide receiver. And in those games, the sacks were an issue. 1 sack every 7 throws for Culpepper so far this season.
Receivers on 3rd and 4. Culpepper for Calvin Johnson. It's intercepted. DeJuan Landry has it at the 40. It was underthrown. You don't know whether it's a slick football, but Calvin Johnson looked like he was between the 2 defenders.
Defense, number 90. 15-yard penalty added on to the end of the play.
Trevor Price.
First down.
Going to get roughing the passer on Dante Culpepper, and this is a huge break for the Detroit Lions. That was a terrible football, underthrown. DeJuan Landry picks it off. This is Terrell Price. He's going to come from the right of your screen, right there, number 90. Oh, wow.
Tough call on Trevor Price.
If anything, I think it's... Here's the route. You can see very much underthrown. Carr over the top, and DeJuan Landry playing it underneath.
So John Harbaugh thinks that's a bad call on Price, and when we watched it,
well, if anything, it's got to be helmet to helmet. I mean, he didn't take him to the ground. He didn't pounce on him. It wasn't a forcible hit. Don Carey somewhere had to see helmet to helmet for him to throw that flag.
And officials this year, they are ordered, if they're even borderline, you go on the side of caution and safety for the quarterback. That's been the rule all season long, whether it's at the ankles or near the head. So a 1st and 10, the interception nullified by the late hit on Price from the 41 of Detroit. Culpepper inside, handoff, that's Kevin Smith. Up near the 49-yard line.
Well, and here's the hit, and it's Tavares Gooden and it's Trevor Price. You'll see 56, who's on a little bit of a blitz there.
Maybe that right hand, I don't know.
I think it was as much on Gooden as it was on anybody in terms of it was grill to grill, face mask to face mask. But certainly I think one that couldn't have been called as well, Chris, in terms of the discretion of Don Carey, the referee.
All right, they were here once before and wound up punting. 2nd and 2 for the Lions from the 49-yard line. 2 tight ends in for Culpepper. The handoff to Kevin Smith. He has a first down. And brought down hard by Tim Zbikowski, who is again in at the free safety spot for Ed Reed.
Well, and you can see what Kevin Smith is. He's a guy that gets to the line of scrimmage. He's got very good vision, and then he bounces. And Ray Lewis had him in the hole right there. He's leading up It's behind Gronkowski, number 47. Ravens got him right there. But you can see the strength of Kevin Smith, a very powerful runner when it comes to break the tackle.
Now Maurice Morris comes in for Kevin Smith on first down for the Lions. Rain continuing to fall here in a scoreless opening quarter. Ravens threaten blitz. Picked up. Culpepper for Calvin Johnson up in the air. He had it, couldn't hold on. Between two defenders.
Well, he's going to continue to do that. You got to give Calvin Johnson an opportunity. It was a good job by the offensive line because Baltimore did send 5. They'll have 2 on Calvin all day. Dante told us yesterday if there's 2 guys on him, he may be wide open in my mind, and he's going to throw it up and give Calvin Johnson an opportunity. He's the most gifted athlete on the field at almost 6'6". He's got a 45-inch vertical and had an opportunity to be able to corral that one.
Morris stays in on 2nd and 10. That's Aaron Brown. Aaron Brown is a first down inside the 35 of Baltimore. And on 1st and 10, 3 wide receivers. Who else could step up at receiver for Detroit? They don't have to worry about it here as Kevin Smith carries. Brian Johnson, Dennis Northcutt, Derek Williams, the other receivers. And, of course, they're down at tight end, as we talked about, with Brandon Pettigrew on the injured reserve and Will Heller, who we've already seen in action today.
And losing Brandon Pettigrew is a real shot for them. The first-round pick, the tight end. Jim Schwartz told us last night, he said that one hurts because Pettigrew was really starting to develop. And as Jimmy told us, when you got a tight end that can keep the safety on the hash, it's hard to do all that cloud stuff, that cloud coverage against Calvin Johnson because you're worried about the tight end down the seam. That's a big loss for this offense.
And Dan Gronkowski, the rookie from Maryland, in at a tight end spot with Heller. Kevin Smith slips a tackle, gets back inside the 30. Smith, short. Dante Culpepper quick to signal over to his head coach Jim Schwartz, but they're going to take the points early and set up for a field goal attempt.
Watch Ray Lewis fill this hole. Gandy's going to pull around the right guard. Watch Ray Lewis meet him in the hole. Bam! Right there, knocks him a yard backwards, which forces Kevin Smith to try to bounce it to the outside where the D lineman had it stacked up. Terrific play by the future Hall of Famer there, Ray Lewis.
A 45-yard attempt for Jason Hanson. He's 14 out of 19 so far this year. Harris the holder. Remember, the ball is slick. Kick is up and no good. Along with Tim Ryan, Chris Myers, the NFL on Fox in rainy Baltimore. Temperature in the low 40s. 1st and 10 Ravens after the missed field goal by Hanson. Flacco throws right away and caught with a penalty flag on the back end of that play as Derek Mason fell to the turf. We'll check on the call here.
Illegal shift. Offense, 2 men moving at the same time. 5-yard penalty. The down remains 1.
Sounds a little heated down there.
Well, you can hear Mason yelling at the side judge, "You told me to move." That's what I just heard him
usually
say.
the receivers sometimes will line up and look at the official, right, to make sure they're
see that
right.
he's all right on the line of scrimmage, whether he's an X receiver that he's on the line of scrimmage or he's a Z receiver that he's at least a yard off the line of scrimmage.
So 1st and 15. Don't tell me all that chatter is going to create another penalty.
There is no foul on the play for illegal shift.
All right, so he is throwing the penalty on himself.
You notice how he didn't throw it, though. He just waved it.
He's waving the flag as if, to my mistake, that's me. So maybe Derek Mason, all that chatter paid off. So we'll go back.
Well, in penalties, look, this team's got to play sharper, and then this one's going to get picked up, which is great. But you go back to last week, the Monday night game against the Packers. There's no doubt, as sloppy as it was, and I know defensive pass interference has been a big issue for them, but across the board, they got to play sharper, Chris, if they want to get to where they want to be in terms of, achieving the opportunity to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, so we go back, count the Mason catch, 4-yard pickup, 2nd down 6. No penalty. Flacco looked to throw, still has to, and gets rid of it. It was intended for Mason. It'll bring up a 3rd down.
Mason's still the #1 target. Watch this guy, though. He's going to break on it. Joe Flacco wanted to go quick. You see him just hitch it up, and he wants to throw. but he notices Phillip Buchanan is making a tough break on the ball, and then he wants to reset his feet, that being Flacco, to get to another read, but Cliff Avril was in his face. Smart throw just to throw it out of bounds and throw it away.
Mason came in, the leading veteran receiver. Remember, Clayton is out, so Kelly Washington on the other side. That's him in motion. 3 receivers on 3rd down, and that's incomplete. Derek Williams, the intended receiver, so Flacco a little off. And for a team that is trying to keep its playoff hopes alive, they need to be more crisp. So a punting situation on 4th down. Sam Cook will be punting to Dennis Northcutt.
Can't ever be good in these conditions when it's, I mean, you'd almost rather have it snowing than being so wet.
Don't take it yet.
And rainy and slick for the punt returners out there.
Don't take a snap or return for granted here. Northcutt waves for the fair catch and has it at the 17-yard line. The Ravens defense still the toughest to run on, but Tim, they're just not the dominant unit as you look at those numbers.
No,
they're
good.
The
they're good, Chris, but they're not dominant. And I think there's less chaos and more scheme. As Ray Lewis told us, he said everybody's got to pretty much line up at their position now. This is where you are, less interchangeable, less guys running around making it difficult on the offense.
Jared Johnson threatens pressures. The handoff goes to Kevin Smith, who squeezes his way through across the 25-26 yard line. Kevin Smith has been busy. Culpepper, who of course started for Matthew Stafford, 2 of 5 so far.
And Jared Johnson is one guy that used to move everywhere, and you'll see him here, number 95. He's going to peel back, then he's going to get on the line of scrimmage, then he squeezes down and does a good job of getting in. You see him sneak up to the line of scrimmage there. Does a good job of getting to the football, but he doesn't make the tackle.
Playing with a bad shoulder and back. 2nd down 1 after a 9-yard pickup by Kevin Smith. The Lions have run the ball well early, have nothing to show for it. Culpepper gets rid of it. On the previous series, they had a 10-play drive, but a missed field goal, and that's why we are scoreless. It'll bring up 3rd and short.
Well, and they're still looking for that guy to bring the pressure. They've talked about Antoine Barnes being able to bring it off the edge. That time they brought somebody different.
Jameel McClain,
number 53. He has not played a lot in terms of rushing the passer. That's been a problem for them defensively. 22 sacks on the season. Still trying to find that other guy, that other outside linebacker type that can rush the passer.
Quick snap as Culpepper keeps. And looks like he fell forward enough with that offensive line surge to get the 1st down, but we have not seen the officials. Remember, that yellow line is not official, but we'll see what Don Carey, they're going to call for a measurement here. And really the Lions offense has looked more in sync.
Well, they've been able to run the ball, and the more they're going to be able to run the ball, and Jim Schwartz loves it with Kevin Smith, the more it's going to take pressure off Dante Culpepper. And then the more you run it, the more you force that extra defender up into the box, which is going to take the pressure off the passing game and all the double teams to Calvin Johnson.
Dante Culpepper wanted him to go for it last time they had 4th and short when they tried the field goal attempt.
Not in this part of the field, though. No way.
And it looks like, because they're inside their own, 28, 29 yard line here. I guess it's difficult with the weather conditions, even for the guy with the chains. Sometimes you got to plan it, mark it, and what happened there? Was that an optical illusion? It's like a Vegas act. Wait a minute, no, you don't have it.
Oh, yeah, no, you don't.
All right, well, that's pretty big because that's a big field position swing for both of these teams, as it'll bring up a punting situation. And Nick Harris, we said he's the holder for field goal attempts. He's on his non-kicking knee, wearing a brace, has an injury there, so it may affect his planting as he tries and kicks the ball to Chris Carr, who is back for the Ravens. So the Lions fail on 3rd and short. Harris and Carr from his own 22-yard line. Carr motors up to the 35.
Chris, you asked at the start, what's the identity of this team? What's the identity crisis? Well, you can see there, they've clearly changed. Look at last year, through this many games, through 12 games, what they were. 56% run, 44% pass. That has flipped for the offense and the offensive coordinator, Cam Campbell.
So on 1st down, they go back to their money guy, Ray Rice. 1st down and more. Out of bounds in Lions territory. Ray Rice came in averaging nearly 5 yards a carry with 6 touchdowns, also 64 catches, which is the best among running backs in the NFL, and picked up 19 right there.
And another good block by Orr, 74. Watch the down block there, which is going to create a crease. I mean, he's really coming off the football, big number 74. And then Ray Rice's vision. I mean, there was nothing inside. He was able to stop. That's the thing with little guys. He could stop and get the juice back going and get to the outside before the defense could react.
Faster pace here for this Raven offense on 1st and 10. Flacco looks to throw and does. Mason at the 40, just inside the 40. By the way, Rice 4 rushes for 73 yards, but that fumble that went through the end zone when the Ravens were threatening to score a touchdown. 8-yard pickup, but here they go to the line now. So it's going to be 2nd down 2. LeRon McClain and Ray Rice in the backfield for Flacco. That's McClain. LeRon McClain down to the 18-yard line of the Lions. The former running back moved to fullback. 20-yard pickup.
Well, and they go unbalanced line, which is tackle over. So here's the extra tackle, but watch Yonda in the down block that creases it for McClain. He takes Landon Cohen 3-4 yards down the line of scrimmage. And you like LeRon McClain and the ability to cut back. That is a guy that's a tailback, in my mind, trapped in a fullback's body.
18-yard line of the Lions. Ray Rice this time gets maybe a yard before the Lions seal things off. Just over 2 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. One of the few times that the Lions defense has done the job against the Ravens running game.
And I think part of the inconsistency with the running game has been about that guy, LeRon McClain. I just told you, I mean, the guy had over 900 yards last year. You looked at what he had, 230 plus carries, only 30 carries coming into the game today. And you know what? I don't think he's a great lead blocker. I think that has hurt their run game offensively. They miss Lorenzo Neal.
3 wide receivers. Instead, Flacco runs it. Hands it off to Ray Rice. Penalty flag on the back end of the play as Rice went down to the 15-yard line. Yeah, the Ravens used to have that 3-headed attack with the
offense. Number 73. 10-yard penalty. Repeat. 2nd down.
It's on Marshall Yonda, the right guard. Yeah, it used to be the 3-headed running attack, and Ray Rice has kind of emerged as the go-to guy now.
And rightly so. I mean, he's the best player, but I think and Lorenzo Neal proved that he couldn't do it with the Raiders. He was released this year, but they really missed that heavy package what they had last year when Lorenzo Neal would come in and block for the big bruiser LeRon McClain.
And Rice gives you that receding option as Rice splits out to the right side on 2nd and 19. Flacco looked that way, and Rice, can he hang on? No. That play looked awkward from the start. It'll be 3rd down and 19.
That's good ball location. Hits him right in the chest plate. And that wet ball has had a factor already in this game with the weather.
We've seen a fumble, a ball that looked underthrown by Culpepper.
Well, they'd rather have it snowing in the passing game than raining. I remember the great Danny Marino, as you say, if it's snowing, I'm throwing. It's a lot easier versus the rain when it's soaking wet.
On 3rd down, Ray Rice has it. Down at the 20, short of the 1st down. So it'll bring up a field goal attempt for the Ravens and Billy Cundiff. So Flacco upset that this offense has been unable to get any rhythm going here, whether it's the weather or the way the Lions are playing or the way the Ravens have been moving here in the opening quarter. Billy Cundiff, the ex-Cowboy, and field goal kicking this year has been an adventure until they added him 13 of 15, his long of 46. And this will be a 38-yarder. Points may be hard to come by all day. And the Ravens get the first 3. Cundiff delivers with 40 seconds to go here in the opening quarter. And we'll keep an eye on the Cincinnati score. If they win, they clinch the division as Cundiff boots it in the rain. Aaron Brown has it for the Lions. Dancing around, but he couldn't get up to the 25-yard line. Dante Culpepper, 2 of 6 so far. Pass complete. That's Calvin Johnson. They've tried him deep a few times and haven't had success. Here he Goes out of bounds with 29 seconds to go in the opening quarter. It'll bring up second down and short. 7-yard pickup. Matthew Stafford, by the way, is the third quarterback. Drew Stanton, the backup for Culpepper today. The Ravens protecting a 3-0 lead. And again, the fumble lost is why they don't have more when you look at the lopsided yardage. Lions need 3. Hand off Smith. Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith stiff-arming to midfield. Kevin Smith with 57 yards rushing so far on 1st and 10. In the backfield, Aaron Brown is checked in. They fake it to him. They give it to Smith. And he gets into Baltimore territory. Saints, of course, have already clinched the division. A win would clinch a first-round bye. Atlanta trying to stay in the playoff picture. Second down 7. It's Kevin Smith again. Now the Lions have been here. This is the third time they've been around midfield and into territory of Baltimore. And again, the missed field goal is why they have nothing on the board.
Kevin Smith is having a heck of a game so far, Chris. I mean, you've seen already 3 or 4 illustrations of him with his vision, his ability to cut, break tackles. He's at 6 yards a pop right there when you look at it. And I mean, he gets a lot of respect around the league. Every time we go talk to an opponent of the Detroit Lions, that's the first guy they bring up. Of course, Calvin's the guy they got to stop, but Kevin Smith in the run game garners a lot of respect around the National Football League.
And he doesn't want to come out regardless of the situation. Here it's third down. The snap fumbled by Culpepper. He gathers it in at midfield. And again, this is where the Lions stall or the Ravens tighten up.
Well, and it just slips right out of his hands. The location of the snap is good from Raiola.
Now, have you heard that about that he has small hands? And that's
well, he's always had issues. Remember when he was in Minnesota of hanging on to the ball security when he was trying to run. But that time it looked like he just took his eyes off the ball. Now, it did slide through his hands, but looked like he was looking out to the right as the ball was getting there, and he just misread it.
And you can see the hands trying to keep him dry, keep him warm. Chris Carr sees how slick the football is. And the punt by Nick Harris goes into the end zone. It's a 50-yard kick, and there's a penalty flag. And it's back.
Holding. Offense, number 92.
So on the kicking team, John Harbaugh wants the specifics here. Do you re-kick? Do you just tack it on?
Going to tack it on, I believe, is what the coach wants to do. So get it out at the 30.
It'll be Baltimore.
So the penalty is on Cliff Averill, the defensive lineman. And with 13:13 to go, the Ravens protecting a 3-0 lead. Along with Tim Ryan, Chris Myers, this is a Mike Burke, Sandy Grossman production on 1st and 10 for the Ravens with a 3-0 lead. And they're going to hand it off to McClain, the big guy. 260 pounds. It'll bring up second down. Sold out here in Baltimore, 71,000 plus, despite the rain and the chilly temperatures.
Oh, it's a great crowd. There's not many better in the National Football League, and most of these folks, they don't even sit down during the game. I mean, it is standing for about 60 minutes and ripping, and be interesting today. It has been an issue so far. Now, ball security has, but how they handle the crowd noise in the big spots offensively for Detroit is something to keep your eye on.
That's McClain setting up with Rice in the backfield. Flacco looks to throw, and Tahi has it. You hear the crowd. 43rd catch of the year for the tight end. And up near the first down marker at the 40-yard line. A 7-yard gain, so they'll be short. It'll bring up 3rd and short. 6 out of 9 for Flacco so far. And hadn't really gone downfield much. 3 wide receivers are now checking in. Demetrius Williams with Kelly Washington and Mason. Flacco's pass hauled in by Mason. It hangs on. Derek Mason. And Derek Mason has a race touchdown. 62 yards. He took a shot but just kept on running.
Well, he did a good job of communicating with his quarterback, Joe Flacco, what he was going to get. So he's going to run the slant. Listen to the hit. Oh. And I think Marvin White coming over and delivering that big shot really helped out Derek Mason because Philip Buchanan was behind him. I mean, listen to that shot. Marvin White in front of him, and they kind of sandwich him, hit him together. And he stays on his feet and then realizes it and then takes off into the end zone, and he's hurting right now.
13-year veteran showing some toughness. His 6th touchdown catch of the year, and Cundiff's extra point goes through.
You know, terrific play by Derek Mason, who they're looking at on the sideline there to the left, the wide receiver. Marvin White, the safety for the Lions, they've had a lot of problems at the safety position with injury, but you just got to wrap. I mean, you love the fact that he comes over and he gets the big shot and the body rocking hit on Mason, but wrap him up and you're still playing defense.
Joe Flacco, his 15th touchdown pass of the season, so in his 2nd year, that beats what he did last year. An early career high as the kick goes to Aaron Brown. Aaron Brown tripped up short of the 30-yard line. The NFL's #1 overall pick, Matthew Stafford, who's been busy, out with a shoulder injury, so Dante Culpepper on the spot here, trailing 10-0. By the way, Derek Mason, okay, got the wind knocked out of him, so he'll return for the Ravens after a spectacular play. And they're going to run it on first down. Kevin Smith, who goes nowhere. Dhani Jones, who hit him in the 4th quarter, and that's the reason Stafford cannot go today. They hope he'll return next week. Culpepper down the middle, and has been Calvin Johnson for a first down at the 45-yard line.
Calvin's just going to find the spot in the zone right behind the backers. Here he is going to run an in route. So you're going to see him. He is going to get in front of the safeties in the corner behind the backers. And the key there was Dante Culpepper, Chris, having time to throw. There was no pressure on him that time. He had all day to throw and let it develop to Calvin over the middle of the field.
All right, so he comes out as the Ravens call a timeout. He was fixing his shoe as Dennis Northcutt was coming in. Ravens cannot afford a slip up or they will fade from the playoff picture. Was the Lions' long snapper. We'll check on his injury as Culpepper has plenty of time and has to try and dump it short, but Smith can't handle it. Muhlbeck being taken away.
Well, the backup long snapper is Dominic Raiola, the starting center. So when they go to a punt formation, look for Raiola to be the guy that's firing it back to Nick Harris.
Dominic, a veteran, part of that team that went 0-16 last year with Jim Schwartz taking over. It may not sound like much, but 2 wins for Detroit. It's a step in the right direction. Meanwhile, Ray Lewis wants this team to get back into the playoff hunt. 2nd down 10. 3 wide receivers for Culpepper, and they'll run it with Kevin Smith. He's had a busy day, and for the 4th time today, the Lions get to midfield. Each time they miss field goal and a botched snap.
I am so impressed with Kevin Smith's vision. I mean, he saw Ray Lewis go right to the hole. Watch Ray. Ray's going this way. And as he looks at Ray Lewis get to the outside, right there, he already knows. He already knows. Ray has got the perimeter sealed up. Cut back up inside and get what you can. And he got about 5 yards. Very impressed, Chris, with him so far in this game.
13 rushes, 67 yards for Smith, but Lions need a first down on 3rd and 5. Northcutt has it for a first down inside the 35 of Baltimore. There was time for Culpepper to find the man he wanted. And Kevin Smith picking up the blitz for a 16-yard pickup.
Yeah, here he is here. He's going to go to the right. He's going to pick up the defender. It looks like Zibikowski blitzing off the edge. Able to take him down low. Culpepper's got time. It's man coverage. When you're in man coverage, guys are going to flash open if the quarterback's got time. That time it was Northcutt getting away from Ladarius Webb.
Calvin Johnson, bottom of your screen on the left side. 2 tight ends on 1st and 10. Quick pass the other way. Goes to Brian Johnson. Down near the 25-26 yard line. Ray Lewis making the stop. Brian Johnson, born and raised in Maryland. Former Penn State star. He's kicked around the NFL.
Well, and those are the guys they need to step up. Calvin Johnson is such a weapon, and teams defend him the same way every week. They'll put 2 guys on him. that's what needs to happen in the growth of this football team here with Matthew Stafford eventually, being the guy. And they need another weapon opposite Calvin Johnson when you're talking about the number 2, number 3 wideouts.
Second down 1, Tim. Aaron Brown has checked in. Here comes pressure. The handoff to Kevin Smith, and he fights to go forward from the 25, but we'll see where they mark it. Whether it will be 3rd and short. And the Lions have run into problems there today in that department. Looks like they're even going to measure here.
No, I think he's well short.
This may be 4 down territory for Jim Schwartz. They're going to stay with 2 tight ends. For the Ravens, toughest team to run against coming in here. But Kevin Smith has done a good job so far. It's a fake. Culpepper, Dante Culpepper, can he get the first down? He hesitated and then lunged as Ellerbe was there to make sure he didn't sweep to the outside. Looked like he wanted to throw the ball.
Yeah, he did. A little fake sneak as he's going to step up and then he's going to crouch down. He's looking for Calvin. Calvin's covered. Now it's just take off and run, and it's about that 265, 270 pounds for Dante Culpepper. And see, here's what Calvin does is he goes deep. Yeah, he's not open, but he's taking the corner away from the line of scrimmage in terms of the run support.
Yeah, Ladarius Webb there to cover him, and he did get the first down, Tim.
Yep.
So Culpepper, a veteran move.
Neat play.
Keeping the drive alive on 1st and 10. There's time for Calvin Johnson, incomplete. And DeJuan Landry back there covering, but there were 3 Ravens hovering around Calvin Johnson.
Well, and he's got to, it looked like from here he could have made that catch. He's in the slot. They'll move him around. He's just going to run with a skinny post. And it looked like that location of that football was terrific. Now, he got bumped while the ball was in the air.
And he's a guy, they haven't had a lot of time. You mentioned when Culpepper played, Calvin Johnson wasn't in there.
The 2 games that Dante started, Calvin's missed virtually 4 games with injury this year for the Lions.
Second down 10. Dennis Northcutt checks in. 2 wide receivers on the left for Culpepper. They give it to Kevin Smith. Looking for somewhere to go. No, he's going backwards. Can he turn the corner? Fighting to get down to the 27-yard line. Great effort from Kevin Smith. It looked disastrous before Chris Carr corralled Kevin Smith.
Yeah, that's what you don't want to do is start running backwards against all those purple jerseys that can fly to the football. Pretty good block out there for Dante Culpepper, but that's a lot of effort for a minus 3-yard play.
So he checks out. Maurice Morris comes in. Kevin's frustrated. He's run the ball well, but the Lions have 0 on the scoreboard. 3rd and 14. Be a long field goal, a 46, 47-yarder from here. Wide open. Dennis Northcutt. 1st and goal from inside the 10. And excellent protection for Culpepper, a 19-yard gain.
Well, that's been a problem with the Ravens defense. They haven't gotten enough pressure all year long. And in this game, Dante Culpepper has gotten comfortable. They're going to send Calvin Johnson deep. Northcutt is going to get to the middle of the field. So what happens is you saw Calvin back here. He goes all the way deep. Safety goes deep with him. Northcutt breaks it off underneath. Makes it a nice, easy read for the quarterback, Dante Culpepper, that delivered the football perfect.
12th play of the drive, Tim, and Maurice Morris has checked in on 1st and goal from inside the 10. Culpepper has it, throws, incomplete. Way over the head of Brian Johnson. And we thought Terrell Suggs would have an impact on the pass rush. Even if he was going to play, we knew he'd be limited, missing the last 3 games because of that knee injury.
Well, and they got to have him. I mean, he's their best pass rusher by a mile. I think that's one thing when you look at this Ravens team where they've got to get better. They got to get better with some inside push, some inside pressure. They're one of the most, I think they're the 10th in the league in terms of sending the blitz. They send a lot of pressure, but they don't get home a lot. I think a big part of it is not having that war daddy inside, that defensive tackle that can get great push and get to the quarterback.
Trailing 10-0, 2nd and goal for the Lions. Best chance to score so far. Culpepper keeps. And he'll be stopped at the 6-7 yard line. Trevor Price was not fooled by the 11-year veteran.
Still a good player. Clearly a called quarterback draw in the huddle for Dante Culpepper. Nice play by Trevor Price. And Scott Linehan's done a nice job of keeping Baltimore off balance. Of course, when you can run the football, and Kevin Smith has done it with some success, well over 4 yards a crack, he's been able to open up the full menu of plays. Got this Ravens defense guessing a little bit.
Will Heller, the tight end, splits out for Culpepper, 3rd and goal.
Watch Calvin on the fade.
Three-man rush. Culpepper keeps. Dante Culpepper goes out of bounds, and there's a penalty flag down. He did not get into the end zone. At least the official pointing where he stepped out. Now with the rain, it may affect the microphone, the clarity of Don Carey and the officials'
I think
call.
they might get Manny Ramirez for some type of leg whip.
Tripping. Offense. Number 63. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
And this is a big one now. Here's a left guard, Trevor Price. He's going to go down, and then he tries to turn and trip and leg whip Trevor Price. That's a very good call by the umpire. There's no room for that in this game.
So Manny Ramirez called for the infraction. Sometimes it's not how many, it's when the penalties take place. And in this case, it would be 4th down and goal if he didn't score. This will back him up, so they're going to decline the penalty. And the snapper for the field goal, we're going to have a change here. Nick Harris, the holder. Hansen will attempt. He missed one earlier.
And there he is. Raiola's going to long snap now. We saw Donnie Mulbeck, the normal long snapper, getting carted off about 10 minutes ago. So as if Raiola doesn't have enough on his plate trying to block at the line of scrimmage, he's got to be the snapper as well.
So a 22-yarder. The Ravens decline the penalty because it forces the 4th down. And this should be a chip shot. Snap was a bit of an adventure. The snap was a little bit off, and Nick Harris somehow got it in place for Hansen to boot it through. So the Lions are on the board.
Yeah, the ball is low here. Watch the snap from Raiola again. I mean, that's right at the ground. Nice job by Nick Harris. Just no laces out there. He just got it down any way that he could.
And you see how wet the football is, Tim, but
Jason Hansen punches it through.
So he's 1 out of 2, and the Lions are on the board, trailing by 10-3. He's your punter, he's your holder, whatever you need, just call on me, says Nick Harris. Meanwhile, Raiola, the veteran center, says, don't worry, I'll improve the rest of the way. We mentioned the brace on the non-kicking leg for Nick Harris. Lions having to tough it out. Wins this year over Cleveland and Washington. And a road game, they have lost 18 straight on the road going back. That's another.
We did their last win on the road. It was in Chicago.
2000.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Can we count back that far?
I believe October 2007.
And
the last road win for the Detroit Lions.
Ramirez feels bad about the penalty, not as bad as the Lions' entire team, because they missed a chance on a touchdown. A 15-play drive that covered almost 70 yards in almost 7.5 minutes.
Well, they're owning time of possession right now. That was a huge problem last week in the game, especially second half against Cincy. Not today. Ball control to the max for Detroit.
That's Ladarius Webb on the return for Hansen's kick. And he gets across the 30. A nifty return by Webb on 1st and 10. Ravens with Flacco looking to throw. Ball is in the air off the hands of McClain. And again, the slick football and the weather conditions, we keep repeating that because you get a sense with the pictures here that it's just not easy out there.
No, it's not. And Cliff Averill does a really good job here, the defensive end for the Lions. He is playing this screen the whole way. And you could see Joe Flacco wanted to get it to Layron McClain sooner than that. And you saw Cliff Averill get right in his vision point, get his hands up. Joe had to pull it down, reload, and then try to get it to him. And nothing on the play.
7 out of 11 so far for Flacco, 103 yards and a touchdown. Here it's 2nd and 10. For Rice, incomplete down the sideline, no flags. Running right with him was William James. Ray Rice, who came in with the 64 catches, again the most among any NFL running back.
Well, and you think of, watch the motion out to the side. This is what Cam Cameron did for years with LaDainian Tomlinson down in San Diego. Basically get him out, use him as a wideout. That was a well-thrown football by Flacco. Good job by Will James, just getting his hand up at the right time, because that location was perfect from the quarterback to Ray Rice.
And William James, a nice shot. 5 defensive backs in. A little bit of a hurry up to the line here. Flacco from the gun on 3rd and 10. He has time. He's looking around and dumps it off to Ray Rice. Fights to the 40, and it's like the 41, close to the first down. Made something out of what looked like a busted play, or at least it wasn't the first option.
Kind of a cool play the way they had it up, because Flacco was looking deep, and then he got pressure from Sammy Hill. He had to get it off late. But watch, he still had his O-lineman at the line of scrimmage in front of Ray Rice. So the O-linemen are blocking, they're blocking, they're blocking. And there they are. He hits Ray Rice. He's still got some blockers in front of him with Yonda and Matt Burke. And then that's what we talked about with Ray Rice, tackling him in space. You're the first guy there, you got to get him down, or he will pick up the extra yards.
Rice is only 5'8", second-year player from Rutgers, who has really emerged as a superstar here in his second NFL season. They're going to measure here, Tim, and again the yellow line not official. We saw the little chain act last time. Let's see what kind of drama unfolds here, because it would be a punting situation. See Miami leading Jacksonville, an important game to the Ravens here, as the Dolphins have 6 wins and the Jags would be a wild card team right now.
Is building.
Why are these guys having an issue here? Let's put the chains down. All right. Somehow.
Like, can you at least stick the marker in the ground so we can see for ourselves?
I might have, you weren't afraid to go down there beforehand when it was raining. I might have you go down there and help out. All right, so they're going to say.
We focused on the spot. It was a first down.
All right, so we focused too. Don Carey, we thank you for that, from the 41-yard line. And Harbaugh says, all right, whatever, as long as we get the first down. Ray Rice and McClain, LeRon McClain, the fullback, are in. As the Ravens, with 3:45 to go, are protecting a 10-3 lead at home. And Rice has it. And Ray Rice has a lot of room. Ray Rice, can he take it to the house? And Ray Rice has a Ravens touchdown. For Ray Rice.
Well, and it's the same play they ran earlier. Block down here, Grubbs out in front. Now watch the missed tackles. Watch the missed tackles. There's one drip. There's another guy dripping off, so 2. And then Mason right down the field just blocking the whole way. Those are those big pops you talked about with Ray Rice. That's the same play they ran earlier. They had success with it. Detroit can't defend it, and they can't wrap up on defense. Ray Rice right now is his own best blocker in terms of breaking the tackles.
First career 1,000-yard season for him. The extra point is good. He has 133 yards rushing here in the first half. 8th time a Raven has rushed for 1,000 yards. And Mason, who had the touchdown catch earlier, helps this go.
Well, you love this. And right now he senses it. I mean, he's just going down the field trying to clear it out. And then as he sees Will James really start to put his crosshairs on the back and knows that he's in real pursuit, Derek Mason knows, okay, now he must have broke it. I got to make a block here, and he does. He's able to screen off Will James, and Ray Rice takes it into the end zone.
All right, so Dante Culpepper has to get the Lions to respond. They were down there threatening. They settled for 3. The Ravens come back with Ray Rice. He felt bad about that fumble through the end zone after a big run in the opening quarter. He hangs on here and provides the second touchdown for Baltimore.
And he has great work ethic. We talked to him on Friday, and he said he used his vintage Walter Payton stuff that he watches all the time. Always appreciated Sweetness' work ethic and how he went about the game. And he's gotten a lot better. He lives in the weight room. He trained all offseason with DeJuan Landry, the big safety who's really, really strong. You know, what Ray Rice did when he was at Rutgers, I asked him, were you a big weight room guy? He goes, I love the weight room. He goes, as a matter of fact, when I was at Rutgers, he said, I worked out with the offensive linemen every day. So he is a guy that is well built, and he's got great work ethic.
And he was clear, Tim, his role to be a playmaker for this offense. And he said his size, the low center of gravity, helps. He can get lost behind linemen, and you just illustrated how he can get through people. And Aaron Brown has it for the Lions. Ravens are to smother him at the 27-yard line. Chris Carr leading the way. And these are up to the moment numbers. You see the rushing yards. Can he do it? in the catch department?
I think he can. He leads all running backs in catches right now around the National Football League, and with 3 games to go after this one, I think absolutely he's got a shot to do it.
And they're going to run it at Kevin Smith on first down. Kevin Smith has been busy today. 63 yards prior to that carry.
We talked about it in the open, and a key for the Baltimore Ravens was being better at the line of scrimmage up front on the offensive line. And John Harbaugh told us that. He said, we got to play better. We don't have enough real playmakers offensively other than Ray Rice, like really high-octane playmakers, that when we don't play well up front, it just doesn't look good. So far in this game, Chris, in particular, Orr and Grubbs on the left side have been terrific.
The Lions hoping for some play from their offensive line, and they don't get it. Culpepper slammed to the turf. Let's see if they call it a sack or an incomplete. He did not get the ball back to the line of
scrimmage. This has got to be grounding. This has got to be grounding.
No, they haven't called it yet. Antoine Barnes thinks they should call that.
Culpepper's in the pocket, and the ball doesn't get to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
I think there's a legitimate gripe from the Baltimore Ravens here.
So no call. 3rd and 6 for the Lions. They've moved the ball well, but credit the Ravens defense for tightening the belt when they needed to. Let's take another look at that play, Tim. The officials are going to discuss it.
Well, there's the pocket, tackle to tackle. So let's see where Culpepper is. Outside the hash when he throws the ball. Here's the outside of the pocket, right about there. He was right on the cusp.
Right on the line.
He was right on the cusp.
Baltimore is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass.
So they are going to challenge. John Harbaugh has challenged, as Jim Schwartz looks on, whether it was a sack or an incompletion or a completed pass. You cannot challenge the official call for intentional grounding, but Tim, you illustrated it was a borderline out of the pocket throw. It did not reach the line of scrimmage.
Well, and looking at it again, it was a sack. Antoine Barnes had him. Culpepper's knee was down before the ball came out.
It would be 3rd down.
And Don Carey's going back under the booth.
Let's take another look. Is the knee?
The knee is down, no doubt.
The ball's still in his hand, so that would be a sack.
He's borderline whether or not he's outside of the tackle box or not. He is right on the threshold of that.
After the review, the quarterback was down by contact. It will be 3rd down.
All right, so you were right, Tim. The knee, the sack, and so was Antoine Barnes. He said, well, that's what I told you from the beginning here. It just took you guys a while to agree with me.
Yeah, I love that. And that's one Carey's got to get. I mean, Don Carey is standing right there. He's got to be able to get that call right from the get-go in terms of what he's seeing, because when you go back, and it's much easier looking at it in slow motion. Obviously that's true, but clearly Culpepper's knee was down before that ball came out.
So it is 3rd down. The Lions have given up at least 1 sack in every game this season. Now they're just trying to decide where to mark where he was down, so we know how long to go here on 3rd down. Look at Antoine Barnes is talking.
He's back to the booth again to find the spot.
The spot. We got to get the exact location. So in the big picture, whatever they come up with, however this is sorted out, it'll be 3rd and long for Dante Culpepper. And the Ravens defense, well, they can smile now. There's Antoine Barnes.
Yeah, I think the spot is going to be, this is where the spot will be, right here about the 24-yard line, I believe. And that's what Don Carey's doing, Chris, back under the hood, trying to get that part right.
Bengals trailing the Vikings by 3. Miami leading Jacksonville. Check other scores. Visa halftime report coming up.
The ball will be correctly placed at the 23-yard line.
So we cleared up the spot. In the big picture, the Ravens have a 17-3 lead. Some big offensive plays from Derek Mason and Ray Rice. And their defense has kept Culpepper and the Lions in check for the most part. So now it'll be 3rd and a long 15, we'll call it.
Ray Rice already with 133 yards rushing in this football game. So he's been terrific, and the offensive line in front of him, Chris, has especially on the left side, have been more than solid.
Can the Lions line hold up for Culpepper? He's going deep. Way short of Calvin Johnson and intercepted by Chris Carr. And Chris Carr runs it back to midfield. A desperation throw by Culpepper.
Well, and you can't underthrow that ball when you got two guys on Calvin Johnson. You got to give him a chance. Chris Carr is running with him. Landry's going to get back here too, the safety. And then if you underthrow Calvin Johnson, who's clearly taken off deep, you got to throw it as far as deep as he is or deeper to give him an opportunity. You got two defenders on him, one playing from a trail position, one over the top. That ball had no chance. You got to get air under it. You got to air it out. You underthrow it versus double coverage, and that's going to happen more times than not. Nice adjustment by Chris Carr, peeling off, finding the ball and going and getting the pick.
All right, the second pick of the year for Carr, and from midfield, three wide receivers in, and Ray Rice in the backfield. Flacco gives it to Rice, who's going to tack on some more yards. Look at this guy go. Inside the 35 of Detroit, nearing 150 rushing yards, and we haven't hit the half yet.
Well, and this time they run the little G lead the other way with Grubbs leading out in the front.
For all the doom and gloom Raven fans were worried about on Monday night, well, Ray Rice has answered 148 yards rushing so far. Talk about an identity.
Yeah, well, they found their identity in this game. He has been outstanding. Over 20 yards of touch for Ray Rice in this game. Wow.
Todd Heap splits to the right side. Flacco throws to Rice. Ray Rice inside the 5. DeAndre Levy had to run him out of bounds.
Well, here he's offset in the backfield, which makes things difficult in terms of coverage for Ray Rice. And here's the blitz. And they just throw. That's a great read by Joe Flacco, just understanding where the blitz comes from. And they throw Ray Rice out right in that void, and then you see the work he can do in space. Got a couple of key blocks. Was able to bounce it to the edge.
Fourth catch of the game, 30-yard pickup there. Ray Rice carries once again over 200 total yards. And we talked about yards from scrimmage at the start of the game, how he ranks around the league, and certainly for a little guy, he doesn't wear down.
Well, I think little guys have a few advantages. Number one, they have a great center of gravity, low center of gravity. There's just not a lot of surface to hit, Chris, when they're running the ball. I mean, it is knee pads and shoulder pads and not a lot in between. And so I think that, and then I think his quickness obviously is a huge factor in what he's able to do.
Second down and goal. Ray Rice, his turn again. This time the Lions stop him. It'll be third down. Ravens have 2 timeouts here.
No, they're going to, yeah, they took one.
So on third and goal, Cam Cameron wants to make sure his offense delivers the knockout blow. That call timeout on the part of Detroit, Tim. So each team with 2 timeouts. Lions wanted to set their defense. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, Terry, Howie, Michael, Jimmy, and Kurt will have all the scores and highlights from around the league. And the Fox Sports ticker has up to the second scores and stats, including some key games that involve the Ravens' playoff hopes. Ravens, as we began the day, just on the outside of the playoff picture with Denver and Jacksonville, the wild card teams, leading a host of teams that had 6 wins, hoping to snap above 500 and get their 7th victory. And here comes this jumbo line.
Yeah, they actually chose not to go with it. You see all the guys they have out wide. They leave Haloti Ngata and Chris Chester on the sidelines. Look like Flacco. He's going to throw it.
And throws it away. He went down hard at the 11-yard line. Ray Rice was in the area. Flacco already, who's been beat up this year with the hip and ankle injuries.
Yeah, they get good pressure on him here. DeAndre Levy and I believe Grady Jackson come up inside. You see there number 90 and number 54, Levy, forcing Flacco to get it out, and there was nobody open in the route.
So a big stop. DeAndre Levy's come on for this Lions defense, but at least they force the Ravens and Billy Cundiff into a field goal attempt. He hit one earlier from 38 yards. This will be from 20. And we have a penalty flag here.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. It remains 4th down.
All right, so you can read the lips of John Harbaugh. He said, hey, there were 9 seconds on the play clock. I mean, the Ravens had a timeout if they wanted to save it in case they were worried about the clock running out on them. Either way, the field goal now will be from 25 yards. And if Cundiff makes this kick, Baltimore will have a 20-3 advantage. Lions do have 2 timeouts with 1:12 to go here in the first half. The crowd getting a little restless, but the home team is ahead. The Ravens will be home next week against the Bears.
Please set the game clock to 1:08. The game clock did not run on the previous play.
So a clock clarification. Let's blame the weather because that seems to have
it's chaotic.
An effect on everything else. Look at Ray Rice by himself outgaining the entire Detroit Lion team.
And you can see John's frustrated with kind of how this game's being managed right now, and rightly so.
And Jim Schwartz saying, let's just move this thing along. Bengals are trailing the Vikings in the second quarter. The Ravens add to their lead here.
He has been out of his mind in the first half of this game, Ray Rice. Chris, they have found their identity on the offensive side of the ball. And again, I think it goes back to what they were last year, playing very good up front at the line of scrimmage and getting the most out of the running game, which has been huge for them today.
Ray Rice has bragged about the mental part of his game, taking a great leap from one year to the next. So he and Derek Mason have helped the Ravens to this 17-point lead as Aaron Brown watches the ball bounce, and he has to grab it on the 1-yard line. And that is not good for the Detroit Lions.
Well, that's a risky play. You think about either let that go in the end zone or let it bounce out of bounds, and you get the ball at the 40.
I think he was expecting it to bounce out of bounds, Tim, and then he was worried that it would just stay there. Look, it stays right along the line.
Yeah, but I mean, that thing's on its way either to the pylon or probably out of bounds. I understand what you're saying, but that's a bad decision.
Well, you are a return guy in the NFL, so you got to make better decisions, especially when your team is trailing by 17 and they're in a hole at their own 4-yard line, and you can see the saliva and the sweat and the chill with this Ravens defense. Smith goes nowhere, maybe a yard. They have 2 timeouts. The Ravens can get the ball back, maybe add some more points. Pickup of 2 for Kevin Smith.
Yeah, Detroit's just got to milk this thing, bleed it all the way down, and go in down 17, right back to the drawing board. Come out and learn and figure out how you stop Ray Rice in the run game.
And they moved the ball, but settled for a field goal, did the Detroit Lions. They missed one earlier. Kevin Smith carries. Gets across the 10-11 yard line as the clock continues to run. DeJuan Edwards brings him down. Old style Baltimore football. The weather here, the way they've played defense since 2000. Look at how tough it is to win here.
Well, and it's tough, especially for everybody, but for NFC teams. They've won 5 straight here at home over the NFC here in Baltimore.
Taking advantage of being at home this week and next week, maybe put on a run, try to get back in as a wild card. They shocked everybody last year going to the AFC Championship game. And Tim, you talked about how different a team, especially on defense, different linebackers, different corners. You still have your centerpiece in Ray Lewis and Elodi Nada, and Ed Reed. They hope can come back to play.
That's a huge loss, just not having Ed back there and what he's able to do at the back end of that defense and defending the pass and 3 interceptions. I mean, the guy is a takeaway waiting to happen in terms of getting the ball back for your offense.
So on 3rd down, Culpepper hands to Kevin Smith, and he does get a first down, so that will allow the clock to run. And the Lions will go to the half trailing 20-3. For the Lions, by the way, they hope that Matthew Stafford will be able. Jim Schwartz hasn't said much about the return of the rookie quarterback, if he would get him in over the remainder of the regular season. Again, he is the emergency quarterback today. Start the second half. It's been raining all day. Temperature in the low 40s. And Jason Hanson, who has the only points of the game for the Lions with a field goal. He missed one. Will kick it off. And the Ravens, who got a big touchdown from Derek Mason and a long run from Ray Rice. Rice over 200 yards in total offense so far. Will get the ball first. Ladarius Webb back to return. And Webb has it from inside his 10. Drops it, picks it up. It's a slick football. And he tries to slip past the tackle and get to the outside down across the 25-yard line. Joe Flacco and the offense will take over on 1st and 10, hoping to add to the lead. And Tim and Chris from the booth. Nice to be inside in a chilly, cold day here in Baltimore. Well, the Ravens, you talked about their identity. Ray Rice has provided that. This is a team that has an advantage now with teams like Denver and Jacksonville losing. They're chasing them in the playoff picture.
Well, they found their identity today. I think you look at the Baltimore Ravens. What did they say? They wanted to play well at the line of scrimmage. They wanted to run the football. And they've done both of those things and have maximized that here in the first half of the game. They have been really, really good at the line of scrimmage. And Ray Rice in the first half, look at those numbers. 200 total yards, fourth most in NFL, fourth most since 1991, in the NFL. And I think if you're Detroit, you got to do a couple of things. You got to be better at the line of scrimmage in terms of your technique and the defensive linemen. And then the linebackers and the safeties, they got to tackle better. I mean, there were far too many missed tackles in the first half of that game. We talked about it. Tackle Ray Rice in space. They have failed miserably, Chris, in that area.
If you're a Lions fan, where's Mike Lucci or Lem Barney? Because nobody, well, here they finally do bottle up Ray Rice. Nobody on that Lions defense has played terrific defense today. And with the 17-point lead and the playoff possibility, the Ravens want to capture this game at home and keep the push forward.
And I think defensively, Gunther Cunningham, the coordinator, Jim Schwartz, the head coach, they got to be disappointed in what they've done up front defensively. Because coming into this game, you look at the last 3 games for the Lions on defense, they have held the opponent's run game to 3 yards a pop. I mean, that's outstanding, and that hasn't held up in this game against Baltimore.
Yep, Rice averaging 20 a pop. And Flacco earlier with a touchdown pass, his 15th of the year. And that's a nice grab by Derek Mason again. For as slick as the ball is, and ball security issues all over the place with the rain, Derek Mason's the one guy who can hang on to the football.
Well, and that's why Derek Mason, well over 800 catches in this league, he can adjust to a ball that's out of frame. That was not a well-thrown ball from Joe Flacco. And you had Mason get out there. Flacco threw it. Mason was thinking it was coming to the outside. It went to the inside, and Mason was able to make the adjustment and get the catch.
An 11-yard pickup. Now Chris Chester checks in. He is a tackle eligible on 1st and 10. And that's him moving to the left side. And they're going to run there with Rice. Moves it up the middle for another healthy pickup. And there's that Indianapolis score over Denver. And we mentioned earlier, as you check the NFL scores in the upper right-hand corner here, that Miami leading Jacksonville, the 2 teams that are in front of the Ravens in that AFC wildcard playoff picture.
Career high there for Ray Rice now, 12 carries for 162 yards in this game.
Chester stays in on 2nd and 4. Power the run game. Rice near the first down. William James from his corner spot comes up.
Well, and that's the same play they just ran the play before. Cam Cameron will repeat plays. I don't think enough coordinators do it in this league in terms of going back to something that works. Heap's got a good down block here, which is going to give the cutback crease to Ray Rice. And then again, you got Will James. He misses the tackle, and Ray's only gets an extra 2 or 3 yards. But you haven't defended well. You slant inside. You get the corner coming off the side. You expect to tackle at the line of scrimmage. They couldn't do it. And you see a lot of Chris Chester in this game. And really what he is, and you called for that jumbo package, he's just basically an extra tight end. A blocking tight end, something they don't have on the roster.
Willis McGahee checks in on 1st down and carries. And that offensive line, Michael Orr, the rookie at left tackle, they're without Jared Gaither, had the foot injury. O'Neal Cousins moving up in the guard spot. That line has played well.
Well, and Michael Orr gets a very good block here, as does Marshall Yonda. There's Orr there, and then watch Yonda coming from the backside, what he does to Larry Foote. Or excuse me, it was Burke on Larry Foote, the center. Gets Larry to his back. But I'm impressed with Michael Orr. Michael Orr has really played well out at left tackle today on the blind side, if you will, Chris,
yes,
for Joe Flacco, and his biggest impact really has been in the run game today, clearing out the holes for Rice.
On 2nd and 7, that's McGahee, who has hit hard at the 40. The blind side, an excellent movie, based on the true story, of course, of Michael Orr, adopted by a family, going on to college, and becoming a first-round draft pick in the NFL, and the dreams are just beginning for him. But the movie, Sandra Bullock, Tim McGraw getting rave reviews, and the actual college coaches playing themselves in the movie, but they're all with different teams right now.
I asked Julian Peterson about it, who's going to be matched up on Michael Orr today when he rushes the pass. I go, "Did you see?" He goes, "Yeah, I saw it." I go, "What'd you think?" He goes, 2.5, 3 stars.
Really? That's it? I thought it was great.
So did I.
All right, Julian Peterson, born and raised in Maryland. But trying to stop this Ravens team, and it's Kelly Washington carrying to the outside toward the first down marker. Kelly Washington starting for the injured Mark Clayton, who has a hamstring injury. L.J. Smith also out with an ankle injury for the Ravens.
Yeah, and a different wrinkle for them offensively. And Flacco's going to get it in just a little ride draw. He's going to stick it in the belly of McGahee, and then he's going to read the perimeter defenders. If they close down on him, he's going to pitch it, and that's what he did there to Kelly Washington. Brings up 4th and short.
And the Ravens are going to go for it inside the 40. Flacco keeps what would appear with that offensive line surging forward. He does have the first down, and we haven't seen a lot of Joe Flacco running the football. And I don't know, guys have to play in pain, but with the hip and an ankle injury, I mean, he's toughing it out here.
Well, and it's been a factor for sure. I mean, you look at what he did last year through 12 games versus this year with his legs. And I know they had designed runs set up for him in terms of plays last year, and that has been a major factor in how teams have defended him, because you don't worry about playing as much man coverage if you got a quarterback that doesn't run.
Can he throw it? Yes, down the middle of the field. In the air, did he hang on? Demetrius Williams inside the 5 of the Lions. 34-yard pickup, and Flacco just hung it up there, and he went up and grabbed it.
Yep, and Demetrius Williams only had 1 catch coming into the game today. You saw Philip Buchanan. He's actually in good position, that being Demetrius Williams, just getting in front of Philip Buchanan in the corner. Flacco puts it up, he's got pressure in his face. Buchanan mistimed it.
And Ron McClain carries it into the end zone. They hurry to the line and finish off the drive with a touchdown. So Rice has scored, Mason has scored, and McClain with his 2nd touchdown of the year. An 11-play drive covering 74 yards in just over 6 minutes to start the second half and add to the Ravens' lead. Billy Cundiff to have the extra point. The Ravens trying to win their 7th game of the year, surprising everybody last year, going to the AFC Championship game. And against the Lions defense, they have torched them for nearly 400 yards, the best output as we look at the numbers here. And you talked about how they were improving, but today Baltimore has had its way with them.
Yeah, and again, I think if you're Jim Schwartz, you're highly disappointed in the effort that your defense has brought today. Give a lot of credit to Ray Rice in the O-line, but far too many missed tackles by the Lions defensively.
Billy Cundiff's kick for Derek Williams. 1st and 10 for the Lions, trailing by 24. The road woes continue for this franchise. Can Culpepper make something happen? That's Northcutt moving around on the right side. Kevin Smith is in trouble. Terrell Suggs there to make sure he went nowhere. Help from Dewan Edwards. The Raven defense finding its groove.
Well, and it's going to be hard for Detroit now, and they're going to be one-dimensional. Down 24, you just mentioned it. Now, there's a whole bunch of time left, but they're going to have to take to the air, and that's sad because Kevin Smith has been their best player offensively today, the running back. He's taken a couple of tackles for loss on his last couple of runs, but things are going to be difficult now for Culpepper in the passing game. So they're going to have to throw.
Smith came in averaging 3.5 a carry. It's throw time. Culpepper goes to Dan Gronkowski. Gronkowski, the rookie from Maryland. First NFL catch. The 7th-round draft pick, helping out on a team that has injuries. Casey Fitzsimmons did not make the trip because of a concussion, a Pettigrew on injured reserve, but a catch at his home state. It's now 3rd and 9. And the Raven fans that have hung around in the cold and rain are cheering on this defense. Incomplete. Looked like Will Heller was the intended target for Culpepper, who is not in a good rhythm here and has not been all day. Culpepper hoping in Detroit here to establish that he can play in the NFL and start somewhere.
He wants to be a starter. We asked him yesterday. I said, where are you in your 11th year here in terms of your mentality as a backup or a starter? He said, there is no doubt that I want to continue to be a starter in the NFL. And this is it for him in terms of contractually with the Lions. Final year of his deal.
Battling the elements, Chris Carr has an interception as one of the backup defensive backs here to return the punt of Nick Harris. And the rain continuing to fall. He has it cleanly. And a lot of room for Carr. 1st and 10 for Joe Flacco all day. They've used kind of an up-tempo offense. Get to the line, keep the Lions defense on its heels, and they have done that. Todd Heap in motion. Willis McGahee is in it. Running back McClain carries from the fullback spot. Thanks, Kurt. Atlanta at 6-6, just like the Ravens. Falcons trying to get in the NFC wild card. Baltimore in good position to do that if they keep winning here. Flacco looks to throw. And it is complete to Demetrius Williams, who stays in bounds and has a 1st down grab. Raven fans know their team has to win, but they want to know what the other guys, the Bengals, who of course lead in the North Division, but the wild card teams ahead of the Ravens entering play, Tim, Denver and Jacksonville both trailing in the 3rd quarter.
Yep, that's right. And excuse me, Jacksonville 1 game up on them right now at 7-5. Just keeping your eye on that one. In Cincinnati, if they were to win that game today, they win the division. Doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Willis McGahee carries, came in with 275 yards rushing for the season and 7 touchdowns used around the goal line and in short yardage situations as the clock continues to run.
And I think a smart move by Baltimore, just letting Willis McGahee get reps here, being up 27-3. Ray Rice has been outstanding. He's your best player. You don't want him getting an injury, and you want McGahee continuing to get reps because you're going to need 2, as most teams do when they get down the stretch and they can get themselves into the postseason.
Ray Rice, a career high 166 rushing yards.
One keep.
And that's where he's going. He hung on. Philip Buchanan was right there with him, but Todd Heap hauled it in. A 31-yard pickup. He's a little bit shaken up. Remember, they're already thin at that position with L.J. Smith out with an ankle injury.
Well, and he's got Joe Flacco's got him on Philip Buchanan, and it wasn't even close. I mean, he was much more open than that. Philip played some catch up. Flacco comes down, looks like a lower leg injury.
We'll check on the injury of Todd Heap. Here in Baltimore, they're checking on the ankle of Todd Heap, who just made the catch to set the 12-yard line, set them up at the 12-yard line of the Lions. So Edgar Jones will move into that tight end spot, and Chris Chester again tackle eligible for the Ravens on 1st and 10. McGahee carries and pounds forward. Joe Flacco 4 out of 4 here to start the 2nd half. And Joe Flacco, first 7 games, that's when they were throwing the ball a lot more, and then they went back to the running game. Actually, in the last few games, he's suffered quite a few interceptions. Today, as we check that bottom line, Tim, no interceptions. He hasn't been sacked, and he has the touchdown toss.
And coming off a brutal rating from Monday night against Green Bay. So he has really responded, 4 for 4 here in the 2nd half, throwing the football. And look, it's back to what they did last year. They're running the ball. He's got a lot of support from the run game. And his defense is having a heck of a game in terms of what they're able to do in keeping Detroit out of the end zone. So it's all gone well for the Ravens today.
And Joe's going to call a timeout here on 2nd and 5 just to make sure things are right. 4:21 to go. That's Heap in motion. A handoff to McGahee. Touchdown Ravens. McGahee, his 8th touchdown of the year. More than 200 rushing yards for this Ravens team today, and they are piling it on the Detroit Lions.
Well, and LaRon McClain had a nice block out in front of Willis McGahee right there. Looked like there was a defender that had a shot, excuse me, I think it was Turk McBride, flashed inside and had a shot, and McGahee ran right through the arm tackle for a touchdown.
Billy Cundiff, the extra point. You talked about McClain having to improve as a lead blocker. And a 6-play, 61-yard drive. Willis McGahee taking over for Ray Rice.
Yep, and a good block by Yonda. Watch 73. He's going to get out there, and then LaRon McClain right here on the edge. You saw Turk McBride. He flashed under Chris Chester right there, but McGahee, when he gets ahead of steam up now, he's a very, very good short yardage back. Again, if you don't get your head and shoulders in front of these running backs, you're just not going to get them down. I mean, you get your arm out there, and they're going to run through it every time.
McClain out of Alabama, the Crimson Tide with a chance for the BCS National Championship, and Mark Ingram, the Heisman Trophy winner. Congratulations to him. Our Fox NFL doubleheader, the Bears and the Ravens, 49ers, Eagles. Some will see the Cardinals and Lions, and then the late afternoon game, the Packers and the Steelers. It all starts with the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. So against Kansas City, the Ravens had over 500 yards of total offense. They're nearing that mark, and they're nearing their best point total of the season so far, as this their 13th game, hoping for their 7th win with 4:16 to go here in the third quarter. Derek Williams back with Aaron Brown and Billy Cundiff, who's been busy. It'll be Williams for the Lions. Knocked down at the 24-yard line by Prescott Burgess. So the AFC might be wide open. That's what the Ravens are thinking, if they can get into the playoff picture. Oh, Kevin Smith just got hammered. The throw from Culpepper and the hit by Donnell Ellerbe.
Yeah, I like Donnell Ellerbe quite a bit. Here he is. He's man coverage. You can see it. He's got it on Kevin Smith. So as soon as that ball gets there, face plant. He gets his grill right up in the face of Kevin Smith. They like this guy a lot. College free agent, undrafted. He's got a lot of speed, and they're still trying to find, I think, the replacement for Bart Scott when you talk about that outside linebacker position on the weak side.
He moved on to the Jets with Rex Ryan. On 2nd down 6. Amazing that Smith hung on to that football. Culpepper for Calvin Johnson. The official says no, he was out of bounds. Had trouble hanging on to the football. How much does this Raven team miss Rex Ryan?
I think they miss him in a few areas. Number one, they miss his personality. Just in talking to Ray Lewis and some of the guys, they just miss Rex, the personality. Because he's a great guy. He's fun to be around. He loves football, and I mean, he's just a fun guy to be around. There's Greg Madison, the new coordinator, and look, it's been a work in progress. There's going to be some growing pains, as there were for Rex when he took over. You remember Marvin Lewis and Mike Nolan in those games, and there have been growing pains kind of along the whole way. But I think to me it's less chaos and more scheme. And they just are a little more vanilla, Chris, in terms of what they do against offense.
But the defense looks the same through the years. The staple here, batted down by the rookie from Utah, Paul Kruger. One of the new additions as you filter in with veterans like Ray Lewis, Paul Kruger.
Yeah, and he was a 2nd-round pick that didn't get on the field early. He came in and people were, well, what's happening with Kruger? Why isn't this guy getting on the field? Out of Utah, the 2nd-round pick, and saw him had a huge play against the Steelers a couple weeks ago to kind of salt that one away and win it for him on Monday night. So, you know, and he's that guy. He's the joker. He can rush. He can cover. The guy's going to have a bright future here in Baltimore.
As Chris Carr is back to return the punt by Nick Harris. Remember Dominic Raiola, the snapper, because of the injury to Muhlbach. Looks like the rain has lightened up a little bit. The fair catch called for and made as he falls forward at the 36-yard line. The Lions have done nothing here.
And they're going to make Flacco make great throws versus tight coverage, not afraid of the running.
Gahey getting most of the work of the second half. The last 3 drives for this Raven offense, a field goal, a touchdown. And Ray Rice, who's done for the day, just dominated the first half with a career high 166 rushing yards. So McGahee giving him a breather as they get ready for the Bears, who will come to Baltimore next Sunday. You'll see that on Fox. Brian Billick, Tom Brenneman with the call. Chicago trailing in the fourth quarter as the Packers lead 21-14 in that game. McClain and McGahee remain in the backfield on 2nd and 4. And they give it to McGahee near the first down marker.
And they've done a good job today, the offensive line. We've been talking about it throughout the game. O'Neal Cousins, 3rd-round pick, getting his first start. He is out at right tackle because Michael Orr, the usual right tackle, has moved over to the left side. Jared Gaither is down with a foot injury, and John Harbaugh talked about it, getting better at the line of scrimmage, being more consistent. They've had their way with the Lions on attack today.
On 3rd and 1, Michael Orr, you saw over at the left tackle spot. The pitch, as he was falling down, McGahee gets the first down. Flacco hung in on that play. And there's a penalty flag down at the 47-yard line of the Ravens.
Personal foul. Number 25, hook collar, 15-yard penalty. First down.
They're going to call that, Tim, on Marvin White.
Yeah, and he grabs Willis McGahee, and not only does he grab him by the horse collar, but then he violently jerks him to the ground. And there's the horse collar there, and if you do that, that's what the rule was drawn up for. You know, guys that grab it and then let go, I understand that, but when you grab and you pull your whole body weight down and just kind of jolt that guy to the ground, they're gonna call the horse collar like that every single time.
And a rule instituted for player safety, but Tim, do you have to have your hand inside for that?
No, it doesn't have to be. It can even be the back of the jersey. You know, in terms of the collar of the jersey, it doesn't have to be deep inside the shoulder pad. Collar of the jersey, rip it to the ground. Horse collar, easy call.
Jim Schwartz not happy about it, but the Ravens move on. 1st and 10. Inside the 36, 37-yard line of the Lions. McGahee. Willis McGahee. First down. William James eventually brought him down, but McGahee, a 13-yard pickup, over 50 yards rushing just here in the second half.
Yeah, he's going to cut it all the way back to the edge as he goes here. And you got Ernie Sims. Ernie Sims flies over the top, and then Marvin White comes in here and again missed tackles, arm tackles. Willis McGahee does enough, just kind of getting and contorting his body to the side so he can get up in that crease, but Marvin White has had 3 or 4 plays today that have been really catastrophic when you talk about the missed tackles.
And I'm sure, Tim, that's what Jim Schwartz, as you look at the number of missed tackles, he's telling his players, look, you guys are getting paid to do a job. You need to do it.
At the end of the day, the game's still about blocking and tackling. And you can throw all the scheme you want and all the skill and all that's fun to watch. Still won or lost at the line of scrimmage.
For Jim Schwartz, a bit of a homecoming. Grad assistant at Maryland. We talked about high school here and playing football at Georgetown. Very cerebral guy. Just wants his guys to give a strong effort here.
Oh, he's hot.
250 yards rushing for Baltimore. 480 yards of total offense.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with the scheme. I mean, they had it played real well front side. Marvin White coming up, he's sitting right where he's supposed to be. He's the C-gap defender on the backside. If you were to go into a room and put it on the grease board, that's how Jim Schwartz draws it up. Make the play, execute the defense. He ran right through Marvin White.
All those years as Jeff Fisher's defensive coordinator in Tennessee, that's what helped get Schwartz the job in Detroit. Flacco for the end zone and batted away. Philip Buchanan was there with Demetrius Williams. There was good effort on that play from Buchanan.
Very good play by Buchanan. Demetrius Williams, the ball location to the outside, to the only place that Demetrius could get it. You see there the ball skills of Philip Buchanan going up and getting a hand on it and then playing it all the way through out of bounds. So he gave the receiver no chance to catch the ball.
Justin Harper just activated up from the practice squad. It is a wide receiver on the right side for Flacco as they run it to McGahee. And Willis McGahee has another touchdown. So all that sideline discussion and Jim Schwartz, you could just see the steam. And I don't even know if anybody got a hand on McGahee.
No, they're just killing it to the left side. It's the same one they've been running all day. They block down, they kick Grubbs around, and then McGahee, he doesn't even get touched. Now he goes right into the B gap in between the guard and the tackle to the left side, and there's not one guy that touches McGahee scot-free into the end zone.
Second touchdown for him, and the highest point total by this Raven team this year. And the offense is delivering. You talked about an identity, the offensive line, whether it's been Ray Rice or McGahee or Derek Mason. It's been productive.
But I love the fact that Cam Cameron, they're going to get a delay here and push it back. Cam Cameron, he is stuck with what works. And they have run that same play 4 or 5 times today, and every time with a tremendous amount of success. And they'll keep running it. Cam will keep running it until Detroit can stop it.
Cam Cameron with help from Hugh Jackson on that offensive coaching staff with John Harbaugh. And there is Ray Rice and Willis McGahee sharing the load and the smiles, and Ray Lewis in the middle of that, as he often is here in Baltimore. Billy Cundiff, a little late on that extra point. 41 points for the Ravens, and we're not quite yet in the fourth quarter.
Jim Schwartz, who just lit into his football team for the missed tackle. Here he is on the score. Here he is on the touchdown. Just watching what's going on. Oh yeah, you can see he is disgusted.
Yeah, that was a disgusted look. You can look when you tighten the lips like that. That means you're so mad you can't even talk.
And you know what? He's from here, but this could be happening anywhere, and he would be disgusted with the effort that his defense has given in terms of the tackling and the defending the run.
And Tim, in the second half, the last 4 times they touched the ball, the Raven offense, field goal, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. And meanwhile, the Detroit offense hadn't done anything. 3 and out and 3 and out. So for the Ravens, the first 40-point plus game.
So wait a minute. 6 plays in the third quarter for the Lions?
Offensive plays. That's about it.
Remember last week, 7 plays in the second half against Cincinnati. Major problem. Their defense wore down in the second half last week in terms of the ability to get off the field. Offense couldn't convert on third down. We're seeing a little bit of the same here in the second half today.
So Billy Cundiff will kick off again. 51 seconds to go in the third quarter. And the Ravens tuning themselves up for the Bears next week here in Baltimore. As Derek Williams has it for the Lions. And Derek Williams gets out up around the 28-29 yard line. After Schwartz spoke, the coaching staff delivering more words of advice to this Lions team. Now, Tim, would you put Drew Stanton in just to get him some work if you're the Lions and you know that Stafford has the shoulder injury and Culpepper is not signed for next year?
Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. Just see Stanton in a real game. Now, he hasn't thrown a lot. I think 11 passes he's thrown this year. He's thrown a couple of interceptions, but I wouldn't fight you, Chris, on that.
Something to maybe spark. Look at the total yards in this half. Something to spark this Lions offense. Culpepper on the move, completes at the 35-yard line to tight end Will Heller. It will be second down. The Jets, also one of those 6-win teams. You check scores in the upper right-hand corner. The Saints are back in front of Atlanta, trying to stay perfect. New England leading by 4 over Carolina. It's not easy for the Patriots either. And the next opponent for the Ravens, the Bears, trailing at home against the Pack. And Culpepper get the Lions a first down. Throws over the head of Heller. It'll be third down. And the Bengals, who lead the AFC North, are losing. And there's Jacksonville trailing Miami. And at last check, we also had the Denver Broncos down to the Colts.
And I think if you're Martin Mayhew and Jim Schwartz and Shaq Harris now in the front office, and they are very, very capable in Detroit. They got to get, they've got to scour this offseason in terms of free agency and draft. And maybe there's an uncapped year which could affect it all, but they've got to get some, they've got to upgrade some players at some key positions here for the Lions.
Third down and 4 for Culpepper, who has time and room to run for it. Took a hit and kept on going. Jameel McClain got to him. See if he got enough for the first down. That would just be a major accomplishment for this Lions team here in the second half with 13 seconds to go in the third quarter, and they did not get it. Another punt.
And it's been very simple for Baltimore defensively here since since they've gotten up and the game has gotten one-dimensional in terms of points. They put 2 guys on Calvin Johnson, force somebody else to make a play, and Detroit hasn't been able to do it.
Lions and Culpepper will go for it on 4th and short as we begin the 4th quarter. And it was in the 40s and chilly rain today when the day started. Ball security an issue at the start, but since at least the Ravens have settled down in that part of things.
Comes some pressure off the slot.
A lot of pointing and yelling. Kevin Smith wasn't sure if he was going to get the football. DeJuan Landry there first, and it's a major loss, and the Ravens take over as a penalty flag comes in. Maybe a face mask against the Ravens, and that would ruin a spectacular defensive play.
Personal foul. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Say 53. Did he call that on Jamil McClain?
I think it was on McClain, who made the play, obviously, but that was a sorry-looking play from the start.
Well, I'll tell you what happened was Ladarius Webb, and I could see the slot corner was going to bring pressure right off the slot, and he did. Was in the backfield, had his hands on the running back before he could get going, and then DeJuan Landry came over the top, and then McClain finished it with the face mask.
Now, the good news, though, for the Lions is it's a first down, and their first of the second half. Trailing 41-3. Now it's just about, let's put some points on the board. Trying to make something happen offensively. They moved the ball well in the first half, but they missed a field goal, and they had to settle for a field goal, and they got inside the 5. And Baltimore's just run all over them ever since. Northcutt is in on 1st and 10. 4-man rush. Culpepper completes. That's Kevin Smith. And he's down inside the 40-yard line. He was down before the ball came out.
And he's hurt.
He looks like he's in pain.
Yeah, he went down. He just went down. Oh, you hate seeing that.
A guy who has given his all, doesn't want to come out regardless of the down, the distance, the score.
No, he is in tremendous pain, and you can see as he puts the brakes on to make a cut right there.
Oh, yeah, that right knee, ankle. And when they showed it here, the fans feeling his pain. Along with Tim Ryan, Chris Myers here in Baltimore, and Kevin Smith, the second-year running back out of Central Florida for the Lions, who has had a busy day, calling for the cart. That's veteran trainer Dean Kleinschmidt helping him out as he has rushed for 76 yards and caught 3 passes. See Ray Rice, who's had a career day over there, checking out his counterpart. And in pain, Jim, that did not look like it was a product of the field here.
No, I think that's just a product of Buzzard's luck. When he put the brakes on to make a move upfield with McClain, it just looked like something in the left knee gave out on him.
Calvin Johnson telling him to hang in there.
And here he is as he's going to put the brakes on right here. And it looks like that's where the left knee, you could see him kind of reach down for it. He just stops now and is going to go to the ground and starts clutching.
And the fans here appreciate his effort, cheering him as he is carted away. And again, this is an artificial surface. The rain has let up a little bit, but it's been slick and damp all day. And that look tells you a lot, but he has never let up in terms of giving an effort for his Lions team. So Maurice Morris comes in averaging 3.7 yards a carry. The former Seahawk, the veteran back. On 1st and 10, it was a 15-yard gain from inside the Ravens 40. Culpepper has gone all the way at quarterback.
Comes the pressure again.
Quick pass. It's complete at the 36-yard line. The Saints surviving a wild one in overtime against the Redskins last week. Tim, you were there to see that as Culpepper is going to throw the ball as he went down in the grasp of Dwan Edwards. Incomplete. That'll bring up a 3rd down.
Well, I think, again, just looking at the Lions, is they don't have anybody that can get open opposite Calvin Johnson. They've got 2 on Calvin, the Ravens defensively. The opponent does every week. And whether it's Culpepper or it's Matthew Stafford, Brian Johnson hasn't been able to get open. Northcutt hasn't been able to get open. And the tight end, Will Heller, has not been able to get open. That's got to change.
Casey Fitzsimmons did not make the trip, as we mentioned, with a concussion. Brandon Pettigrew, the rookie tight end, who's emerging. Up, they're going to call.
There was no receiver in the area. 10-yard penalty. Lost down. 4th down.
It's a late call on intentional grounding, and it looked like he got the ball out before he was down.
Well, it doesn't matter whether
it'll be loss of down.
Yeah, down or not, because it's going to be a loss of down. He didn't get the ball back to the line of scrimmage, and there was a receiver nowhere in the area. And you could hear Culpepper yelling at Don Carey, saying there was a receiver. Listen, you'll see it here. Comes the pressure, Dewan Edwards. Yeah, there was no receiver. That was Gosner Cherilus, his offensive tackle out there to the right.
So it remains 3rd down. They have to get inside the 30-yard line. Culpepper throwing it deep. He's wide open. No, incomplete. Took a while for the football to get to Calvin Johnson.
Well, he's late. I mean, I love the dash pass. I love the thought of the play. I mean, you little sprint out to the right, you turn to protection, you throw it back to Calvin Johnson, who was wide open. And Culpepper, that ball's got to be out. That ball has got to be out right there. He's about a second late, and then allowed Zbikowski to play some catch up and get to Calvin Johnson and get the ball out.
And not only was it late, it was underthrown.
Yeah, you throw that ball earlier and you throw it on time, the defender's not there and it's right on the money.
So it's 4th down and 16. Maurice Moore is in. Culpepper throws down the middle of the field, and that's intercepted. His second pick of the day, Tom Zbikowski, from his free safety spot, is still on his feet to the 44-yard line. Saints try to stay unbeaten in Atlanta. A minute and a half to go, and the Falcons hanging right with them. And the Packers, who have the lead spot for the NFC wild card. Of course, the Vikings in that NFC North division sewing things up. And the Bears will be here in Baltimore next Sunday. The AT&T postgame show and highlights of all of those. And we'll take you to some of those as Troy Smith, the former Heisman Trophy winner, checks in relief of Joe Flacco. On 1st and 10, McGahee carries. Troy Smith has gotten into a game this year against Cleveland and mop-up work. And there is Flacco, and good day considering overall what he wanted to accomplish. Steady numbers, no sacks, no turnovers, no interception. The red zone turnover was the Ray Rice fumble.
That was a great day, and he needed a day like this. Again, short week coming off Monday night where he struggled mightily against the Green Bay Packers. And I know a lot of people have gotten right this year against the Detroit defense. Detroit held Carson Palmer to a 65 rating in that game last week. So Flacco's got to feel terrific about his performance.
McGahee carries again.
You know, I'm sure Jimmy Schwartz is out of his mind.
A defensive-minded coach. Yeah, over 500 yards of total offense for the Ravens. And the pass is complete to Edgar Jones for a Baltimore 1st down.
5.5 per play this season, over 10 today.
McClain, who has a touchdown run, carries. We have McGahee with a couple of scores. Derek Mason, a big touchdown catch. He's 2 away from 850 catches in his career. And of course, Ray Rice got it all going for Joe Flacco and the Raven offense, dominating the Detroit Lion defense. 11 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. And things are falling right if you're a Ravens fan. Denver is losing. Currently, they'd be one of the wild card teams. So are the Jacksonville Jags and the Bengals, leaders in the AFC North, who, with a win today or a loss by Baltimore, would have clinched the division. They're still the leaders, but they're trailing Minnesota in the 4th quarter. And the Steelers lost on Thursday night to fall to 6-7. Smith throws high, and it's almost intercepted. In fact, it could have been by Marvin White, but he's having one of those days.
So I don't think Marvin White can hold on to anything today, Chris.
It is a franchise record, Tim. 511 total yards of offense. That's the best ever in Baltimore Raven history.
Yeah, they needed a get-right game, and John Harbaugh said, look, when all the smoke clears, it's still going to be us in that room. Adversity is going to come in pro football. We need to embrace it. We need to conquer it, and that's what they've done. I mean, the adversity has certainly creeped up on them over the last 5 weeks. Today, they responded with a terrific effort, Chris, on both sides of the ball, offense and defense.
And he said, we're still breathing. I know we'll fight hard. And they have today as McGahee takes in the Troy Smith toss. And the Fighting Hard, meaning trying to win games, put pressure on, and get into a position where maybe you can get in as a wild card team in the playoffs. Kevin Smith, it is a knee injury. They carted him off. Obviously, he will not be back, and we certainly hope that that is nothing that will keep him out for the remainder of the season, already without Matthew Stafford today. This is the second punt for Sam Cook, only his second of the game.
Yeah, that tells a story all in itself.
Dennis Northcutt back to receive. Waves for the fair catch, but lets it go, and it sticks. It's a good punt. We could joke about it, but Jim Schwartz, he wants players to perform. Their jobs are on the line for the rest of this year and next year. As Maurice Morris carries, remember he's in for Kevin Smith, who played well in the first half, but left with a knee injury. You know, on the other side for John Harbaugh, here's a guy who went to high school in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Graduate work with his dad at Western Michigan, and you know, he talked about his team having to put a good effort. No matter who you're playing, you want your guys to play good ball, and they have.
Well, play like a Raven. That's what he'll tell you all the time, and they have certainly played like Ravens today. And you mentioned Western Michigan. That's where he originally met the defensive coordinator here, Greg Madison. Greg was the D coordinator for John's father, Jeff, back in 1982, Chris, at Western Michigan.
On second down, the Lions just trying to get some first downs. They've had punt, turnover. And we look at some of the other performers from around the NFL who have put up impressive numbers. We have our own star here, and Ray Rice. But wow, Brandon Marshall, they're trailing in that game to the Indianapolis Colts 21-16, 20 catches. And Matt Schaub bouncing back for the Texans, winning at home against Seattle. Another third down. The fans here chanting for defense, getting a little greedy. I don't blame them. Morris. Looks like he fell forward far enough for a Detroit first down. You take what you can get when you're the Lions. Paul Kruger, the rookie from Utah, who we mentioned earlier, making the play. And if the Ravens, Tim, get Ed Reed back, Suggs gets a little healthier, no matter who they're playing, they might be able to get back to that defensive form you talked about. They can dominate. On 1st and 10. Culpepper. Smith, who's just had a problem all day hanging on to the football, dropping passes and juggling. And Terrell Smith in for Jerome Felton, who has an ankle injury, was not active, juggling that ball to bring up a second down.
Yeah, you mentioned T. Suggs and getting Ed Reed back, and you know, you hope Ed Reed could come back. Now, he's got a growing injury, and you hope it doesn't start to venture down that sports hernia area. You know, that one's problematic in pro football, or really in any sport when you talk about that sports hernia. So you hope he gets back, and you're right, Suggs has got to boost up that pass rush, and then this defense, I think, will get back to what they were.
Pass thrown behind and incomplete. It would have been a tough catch. Calvin Johnson did have his hands on it. And defending is Ladarius Webb, who the rookie who's played well. Their record is perfect, and the Colts are closing in on that.
And I'll say this about those Packers, and watching the tape against these guys from Monday night, they are going to be a force to be reckoned with as good as they're playing right now on defense.
Culpepper throws, gets caught short of the first down, so that'll bring up a 4th down. Calvin Johnson making the catch, and while they have thrown to Calvin Johnson quite a bit, he has not been that much of a threat across the board. That's his 4th catch of the game.
And look at what the Ravens defense has been able to do today versus the run. That's about what they've done for the year in terms of the average. 3rd down, 5 and 15. You'll take that down at 33%. 1 sack, 2 takeaways. And they've just gotten after it, especially here in the second half.
And on 4th down, falling forward is Culpepper. And let's see if he got it or not. Miami did defeat Jacksonville. That is a final. The Dolphins over the Jags 14-10 in that AFC wildcard race.
And that helps Baltimore big time.
They fail on the 4th down try, so Jim Schwartz offense turns it over. We've talked about the Ravens playoff push because the Bengals are losing, and if that holds up, the Ravens winning here, Cincinnati will not clinch the AFC North, so they would go to 9-4, and the Ravens would go to 7-6, and of course Denver losing helps Baltimore in that wild card chase. We mentioned that Jacksonville has already lost, so the Jags fall to 7-6. On 1st and 10, Jalen Parmalee is in at running back. That's the handoff from Troy Smith. The Colts trying to stay undefeated, Tim. When you look at the AFC, are they clearly the team, even though their record indicates?
Yeah, they're definitely clearly the team. They got Peyton Manning, and when you got Peyton, was it 22 straight if they win this one today over the Denver Broncos? I think the thing with Indianapolis, and the thing that's going to be curious, at least in my opinion, is what they do down the stretch here. They get it all locked up. They get home field. Do they play the guys, or do you not? And then you start thinking about really all your starters not playing football for about 3 weeks. That could be an issue.
Parmalee carries again. Of course, Jim Caldwell, his first year as a head coach, was there all those years with Tony Dungy when they did go through this type of plan. They only have one Super Bowl title.
Well, and remember what happened in the Super Bowl title when they did. I believe they had to play every game, and they didn't clinch anything. They were a wild card, I believe, that year, so they didn't clinch anything. So they played everybody all the way through and then got into the playoffs, and they were clicking and had the momentum.
Yeah, you get that.
Then the other years, Chris, where they have sat guys, they've been an early out in the playoffs.
So the Saints will be going through a little bit of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think they're going to be playing their guys up. I think just knowing Sean Payton and Drew Brees and what those guys are about, I think they are really looking for 16-0.
New Orleans a 26-23 winner over Atlanta. The Colts leading at 28-16 with 2 minutes to go. Troy Smith on the run. He's going to waltz into the end zone. It's a touchdown to Ravens. So the former Buckeye and Heisman Trophy winner gets into the act against a Michigan team. And Billy Cundiff will come on and add the 48th point with 5:02 to go here in the 4th quarter. (48-3). Taking in Billy Cundiff's kick. Waiting for some blocks to get out across the 20-yard line. Haven't really been close down around the goal line. Culpepper has gone all the way. Throws and completes the Morris. A tough hit at the 26-27 yard line. It bounces up. Calvin Johnson 4 catches today. Kevin Smith ran the ball well in the first half.
Boy, does he look like his brother, doesn't he, John?
Yeah. And
Jim Harbaugh, his brother, was here a couple weeks ago for that big game. I played with Jim 4 years in Chicago. Striking resemblance.
I saw John talking about his brother Jim. As somebody on our coaching staff yelling at the officials. It was my brother down there giving him a hard time. As Maurice Morris gets across the 31-32 yard line. The Harbaugh family and that coaching tree got to be very proud of what they jump right into the job, whether it's in Stanford with Jim or John here going to the AFC Championship game last year and trying to get the Ravens back into the playoffs. A special teams coach who had to kind of wait his turn.
Well, that's right. He waited his turn, and then he had Andy Reid basically promote him to the defensive back coach in Philadelphia. He did that for a year, came in and interviewed great with Steve Bisciotti, and the rest is history.
Terrific move by Steve to hire Harbaugh. The pass goes incomplete off the hands of Dan Gronkowski. And you opened the broadcast talking about the Ravens' identity on offense. And they may have found it. Culpepper's pass is incomplete. Intended for Gronkowski. And Ladarius Webb there to make the play. He's played well today.
Well, they think he's got a chance to be real special there. Ladarius Webb, the 3rd round pick. Yes, he's got return skills, but I think they've been more impressed just with how the guy and what his future is as a corner in pro football. You know, talking to Greg Madison yesterday, because he comes out of that small school, and boy, I don't know, but man, since he got here, Madison said the guy's got a real opportunity to be special.
Greg Madison, defensive coordinator, stepping in as Rex Ryan has moved on to coach the Jets. And this is a very different looking defense at the corner, at the linebacker spot when you think about the Ravens team that went to the championship last year.
Yeah, they're more of a traditional 4-man front. You know, with Rex here, it was a lot of hybrid, a lot of 3-man front. They were dropping into the 5-man fronts with the OLBs coming in. It's just a little more different. Again, less chaos, more scheme in what they're doing.
Jalen Parmalee from Toledo, second-year player, in mopping up for Willis McGahee, who had a couple of touchdowns in relief of Ray Rice. Ray Rice, the second-year player from Rutgers, at 5'8", taking over in his total yards from scrimmage. And if you're interested in fantasy numbers, if you had Ray Rice, then yardage total, that'll help you. He has run hard and run tough. Had that early fumble.
Well, you know he's run behind most of the day, at least in the first half. And he was in the third quarter cranking all those yards, right behind Ben Grubbs and Michael Orr.
Parmalee carries again. And the offensive line, which makes everything go, whether it's protecting Flacco, which they did today, or opening up opportunities for Rice or McGahee or McClain, and now Jalen Parmalee.
Well, and I know the O-line coach, John Matsko, very well.
Did he coach?
The offensive line coach, and he was at USC when I was there. He's been in the league for a long time, but I knew this O-line would come out and play angry and play well today. And talking to the guys, they said Ben Grubbs, you see him there, the left guard, arguably their best player up front, did not play well Monday night against the Packers. They needed a big game out of him today, and he responded because most of the big runs have come right there for the Ravens.
And in the center, the middle, Matt Burke, the veteran from Harvard, the former Viking. Ravens with a 48-3 advantage here. Ray Lewis, 9 tackles today for the defense. On offense, 544 total yards. That is a franchise record. As Troy Smith in relief of Flacco hands off to Parmalee once again. The 48 points, tying a team record, and the 300-plus rushing yards, 304, second time in team history for the Ravens. Today's game produced by Mike Birch, directed by Sandy Grossman, the associate director Tom Yohe, and the broadcast associate Eric Mandia. Technical producer Frank Phillips. The pregame show produced by Scott Ackerson and directed by Bob Levy. The senior producer is Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. AT&T postgame show coming up with highlights and scores. The Saints and Colts remain undefeated as McClain carries for the Ravens.
Look at that.
And he's not done yet. 260 pounds plus. A lot of effort.
Well, and that puts the whole day into perspective of how it's been for Jim Schwartz and his Detroit Lions. I mean, they have got him stopped. McBride, Grady Jackson, they got helmets flying. Helmets are getting kicked. They're rolling. Layron McClain breaks out of 5 guys.
And the
picks
headset,
up the first down.
The headset is gone. We were keeping a gauge of his temperature. Jim Schwartz, he didn't want to hear it anymore.
I feel like I'm looking at my dad and he's saying, "Go to your room, son. I'll be there in a minute." No.
Yeah, on that plane ride
Daddy,
back,
please, no.
to Detroit. And what a week for the Lions it will be as they get the Arizona Cardinals next. It won't be easy. As Ray Lewis thanks the fans for their support through a rainy day.